the Goatman, a creature whispered about in hushed tones across rural America. Some call him a demon, others a failed experiment, and to many he is the terrifying bridge between folklore and reality. But who, or what, is the Goatman? His story is not confined to a single place. Instead, his legend stretches across states, highways, and generations, weaving fear into the very landscapes of rural America. The first whispers of the Goatman came in the mid-20th century, though many argue that stories of half-human, half-animal beings are much older, rooted in ancient European myths of satyrs and Pan, the horned god of the wild. When immigrants came to America, they brought their myths with them. Over time, those old stories merged with new fears of the unknown, dark forests, abandoned roads, and the strange shadows lurking in the wilderness. One of the most chilling Goatman legends comes from Prince George's County, Maryland. Locals here speak of a towering figure, half man, half goat, lurking around the back roads near Bowie. According to many, he carries an axe, his eyes glowing in the night, his bleeding scream chilling enough to paralyze anyone who hears it. For decades, Maryland teens told stories of a creature that attacked parked cars, stalked hikers, and even broke into homes. But what's truly unsettling is that local newspapers from the 1970s actually reported strange incidents tied to the Goatman. In 1971, the Washington Post ran articles describing decapitated dogs found near Fletchertown Road. Witnesses swore it was the work of the Goatman. Others blamed cult rituals. But the connection to the Goatman was enough to spread panic across the region. Further south, Kentucky has its own version, the Pope Lick Monster. Here, the Goatman is said to live beneath a railroad trestle, luring victims onto the tracks with hypnosis or mimicry, only for them to be struck by oncoming trains. Skeptics dismiss it as coincidence, pointing out that the trestle is an active rail line, and deadly accidents have occurred for decades. Yet, eyewitnesses swear that before the crash, they saw a figure with horns, cloven hooves, and a grotesque hybrid body. The deaths became part of the Goatman's legend, transforming tragedy into supernatural terror. But how did these legends take hold so deeply? Some believe the Goatman is nothing more than a modern myth, born from fear of the woods. Others suggest darker origins. One theory claims that Maryland's Goatman was once a scientist working at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. The story goes that he was conducting experiments on goats, splicing DNA, when something went horribly wrong. The result? A man transformed into a monstrous hybrid, forever cursed to roam the countryside. While there's no hard evidence of such experiments, the Beltsville lab is real, and its history of animal testing makes the legend all the more believable. Eyewitness reports continue to pour in, and they're hard to ignore. In 1957, a couple driving near Bowie claimed their car was attacked by a massive horned figure. In the 1990s, hikers in Kentucky reported hearing guttural bleats echoing beneath the Pope Lick trestle, though no goats were anywhere nearby. And in Texas, along abandoned bridges, locals tell stories of Goatman spirits that appear only at midnight, challenging anyone who dares to cross. Skeptics argue these encounters are fueled by fear, alcohol, or the mind's tendency to create monsters out of shadows. Yet the sheer number of reports, spread over decades in states, makes the Goatman harder to dismiss as simple imagination. What's chilling is how similar these stories are, despite being separated by hundreds of miles. Always the same features: the horns, the hooves, the animalistic cries, the violent temper. It's almost as if the Goatman legend is not tied to one place, but instead a universal archetype of fear that emerges wherever humans push against the wilderness. Some folklorists suggest that the Goatman is America's modern version of the satyr, representing chaos, lust, and the wild forces of nature that civilized life tries to suppress. Others see him as a warning about the dangers of trespassing into forbidden places, railroad trestles, abandoned bridges, and empty country roads where danger is very real, even without monsters. But to believers, the Goatman is no symbol. He is flesh and blood, and they point to evidence: claw marks on car doors, blood-stained fur found near attack sites, and chilling recordings of inhuman screams echoing through the trees. Paranormal researchers have even conducted night vigils near Fletchertown Road, capturing unexplained noises and shadowy figures on camera. Nothing definitive has ever been proven, but the fear remains. Perhaps the most disturbing part of the Goatman myth is how it evolves. Every generation seems to add new stories, new encounters that make the legend stronger. Parents warn their children to stay away from certain roads after dark. Teens dare each other to visit bridges and tunnels where the Goatman is said to appear. And every so often, a real tragedy, a car accident, a fall from the trestle, a missing pet, gets folded into the Goatman story, blurring the line between myth and reality. So is the Goatman a demon from folklore, a mutant experiment gone wrong, or simply the shadow of our own fears given form? The truth may never be known. What we do know is that across rural America, from Maryland to Kentucky to Texas, people still claim to see him. And when night falls, and the woods grow quiet, many swear they can hear it, the haunting bleat of something not quite human stalking the edges of the dark. Maybe the Goatman is just a story, or maybe the next time you drive down a lonely country road, you'll discover he is real.